This is Damien for the windowcleaningforums.co.uk. This is our first top tip. It's essentially a gutter bracket which can be purchased from most DIY places. Costs around about £1, and a pair of these is a very cheap way to hold poles in your van. You can also pack them out with foam to stop any rattling or movement. This is our second top tip for the windowcleaningforums.co.uk. This is a diluted UBIC or UBIK 2000 solution. It's basically made of 1 part UBIK or UBIC to 10 parts water, and it's in a handy spray bottle there, and it's actually blue, which matches the colour of the fluid. We use this on first cleans. We spray the brush, couple of sprays, and then basically clean the window using pure water and the water-fed pole system. This eats through dirt, and it actually brings up the frames as well. Just be careful of using it in the sun, and make sure to actually visit the website of Clover, and they give you all the information on hazards of using this product. This is our third top tip for the windowcleaningforums.co.uk. This is a bilge pump. It's 1100 gallons per hour, and this basically goes into the tank, into the van. There's a pickup pipe, and the actual pump sits on the base of the tank, and it enables us to fill our trolleys extremely quickly. We're just going to switch it on here, and as you can see, it's coming out fairly fast. It takes less than a minute to fill a trolley, usually around about the 35 seconds. Here we have our next top tip for the windowcleaningforums.co.uk. These are basically 100 play balls that come from Asda, and they were £4. You can also get them from Sainsbury's for £5. And like I say, it's just a cheap way of making baffle balls. What we're currently doing here is punching them with a soldering iron, being very, very careful not to burn your fingers as it comes through. And usually we puncture the ball 3 times, which usually ends up in 6 holes, and then they're just going into the bucket there. So it takes 15-20 seconds to puncture each ball. Now these will sit in the tank, and they will either just sit on the surface, or they will actually slightly fill with water, but they won't sink. We've recently redesigned one of our vans because we actually brought a new one, and the tank was a 750 litre tank, and instead of it being in the van horizontal front to back, we actually put it sort of vertical from side to side. And what this basically led to was the ferry syndrome. It's something that the previous van never suffered with, and it was basically down to the tank being mounted a different way. So we come up with this idea, just basically making very, very cheap baffle balls and placing them inside the tank. We've been running now with this setup for at least 3 or 4 weeks. There's no difference in the TDS of the water, and it's definitely solved the problem. This is our next top tip, and this is for the windowcleaningforums.co.uk. This is our Gardener Extreme 18 pole. This is my current pole that I'm using. It's coming up to being about a year old now. It's one of the first new designs with the midway clamping. Now, a common problem with any carbon fibre pole is basically the wear at the top of the pole. Now, what you'll see here is that the pole is actually spinning, and this has just started to happen in the last week. But my dad will actually move the pole up, and you'll see that it doesn't actually spin there. And the reason for that is here, is at the top you can actually see where the pole's been spinning, and that's due to lateral movement. The next problem with carbon fibre poles is the black hand syndrome. So he's just going to rub his hands up on there a couple of times. You can just start to see there's some blackness, and like I say, this pole is nearly a year old. The method that we've developed, or my dad has developed, which we've been using now for 3 years, basically fixes this problem, extends the life of the pole, prevents black hands, and you don't actually need to upgrade the clamps, although I would actually recommend upgrading the clamps, because with the system that we're going to show you, or the method that we've developed, it would actually be even better. This is actually running the older clamps, but it is something that I will be changing very soon. This is Damien for the wintercleaningforums.co.uk. So we're back with the pole, and what we've done here is we've actually stripped this pole out, and we've degreased it. We've basically used an alcohol cleaner, and we've taken off any remnants of stop tape. The stop tape is usually down here somewhere, and all the glue's been taken off, and this is now ready to be treated. Now I'm going to hand you over to my dad. He's basically going to explain what happens.
Okay, with the Garden Air Extreme pole, you've got a rather unique pole in the respect you've got three raised sections. You've got an end section, you've got a middle clamping section, and you've got an end clamping section. Now, with this pole, what you can do, you can use masking tape just to mask off where you go from the taper to the standard pole. Again there and again there. But it's completely up to you. Whatever you do, if you've got a standard pole, SLX, CLX, do not use masking tape because you will get a ridge. Okay, with this we don't normally bother, but what we're going to do now is actually show you how we treat these poles to give you really an indefinite life. All we've initially done, as my son said, is alcohol rub, and we've just lightly gone over the raised sections with a 2000 grit wet and dry, using it wet, just to take off any grease. Okay, the next section now, we're going to show the interesting part in what we do.
We're back here with the pole tip section for the wintercleaningforums.co.uk. We've degreased the pole with our alcohol rub. We've given the raised sections a slight key, and we're about to explain and show you what method that we've developed over the last 3 or 4 years, and we've been using it without any problems whatsoever, and it definitely stops the wear on carbon fibre poles.
Yes, this is really more of a maintenance tool than an actual pole saver, although it will extend the life of the pole by years. If your pole is excessively worn, then you may have to use the original method, which of course was the resin, and then sand it down and bring the pole back to life that way. You could then go on to this system. This system ideally works with new poles, or poles that have been reasonably well looked after and normally are less than 5 years old. Now the secret is, what do we use? Well, the answer is lacquer. That's all we use, a lacquer. It's an acrylic lacquer. It's very hard, it's universal, it's tough, it's very smooth, and it even makes your pole shiny. The most important thing with any painter, any lacquer, is to give it a good shake for at least 2 minutes. Get it well mixed up. Get the tin warm, the contents warm. In the winter we still do this, we just lay it down on a radiator in the house. Whatever you do, don't forget it, otherwise you will be lacquering your room when it explodes. Okay, tin nice and warm, well shook, we're ready to go. It doesn't matter about the masking tape, as we said before. Initially we're just going to give this pole, at least the top half, its first all over coat to stop the black hands. Approximately 6 to 12 inches away, just run it up, clamp as well, it doesn't matter. Just run it up, and already you've got a micron on there, and that's all you do, just the one small coat, one light coat. That's all you do, turning the pole at the same time. Okay, that's it, that's the first coat done. Look at that, beautiful, isn't it? Eh? Already this pole would be better if it was allowed to dry and put back together. Okay, we're now going to leave this for about a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, till it's very, very, very slightly tacky, which will make an excellent bond for the next coat. Now we won't be doing the pole anymore, all we'll be doing now is the raised sections. To build them up with 5 to 6 coats, bringing the pole right back almost to original manufacturer's spec. And clean hands to boot. That's it, that's the tip. Good luck.
This is Damien back again with the pole tip for the wintercleaningforums.co.uk. just going to hand over to my dad now. Like I say, this has only had one very, very light coat.
Yeah, this is what we call the dusting coat. It's basically a key coat. We've made no more effort to do the race section. We had the pole section. But what it means now is that this is no longer black. It's lovely and smooth. The pole slides and glides beautifully. You obviously make sure there's no grit in there. When it comes to the clamping section, we're going to leave it just short. About 50mm short. We haven't adjusted the clamp, and as we know, that was tight. Now we're going to put it all the way to the stop. Still the same clamp. The clamp actually feels tighter, and look at that, it's already nipped up. It won't move. You could window clean with that. What we're now going to do, as it's not sticky, we're now going to give it 2-3 more coats. That's all we need, but only on the race sections, and that will basically bring the pole right back to manufacturer's spec. Nice and shiny, and we shall get several months out of this before we need to touch it again. A final thought, the most important thing with these poles is keep your pole and pole sections clean. If you feel grit in there, take it out, just run water through it, and it will make your pole last so much longer before you have to do this sort of thing. Okay, there you go, over and out.